Deck the halls with mounds of Chelsea. How's it going, friends? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. As always, my friend, I do hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. And welcome to your daily Chelsea news briefing. That's right, every day here on YouTube and podcast platforms, even though if perhaps it's only Spotify at the moment since I've switched hosts, but I'll get it on Apple Podcasts soon enough if it's not. Yeah, man, today we're discussing the Semenyo withdrawal, which I found quite funny. I mean, 65 million quid is a snip for the winger, the sensational winger. I thought he was going to Liverpool, but it looks like Man City might be going for him. You know, I think he plays predominantly on the right, Cam plays on the left, but there is continual talk. Maresca was asked about Semenyo in his pre-match press conference. There is continual talk about perhaps Chelsea looking for a superstar that will be undisputed on the left flank, because we've got, you know, the right side is such good options in Neto and Stevao, and indeed Cole Palmer, you know, and other players that can do a job over there. Mike Penders is a profile on Get French Football News, how he's Chelsea's long-term solution. So maybe it is, you know, currently informed touchwood, Robert Sanchez, to be transitioned into the, you know, the young and apparently very, very good Mike Penders that was published today. So, you know, also we'll preview the Aston Villa game, of which I should be going to. I think I've nailed down the ticket, but I am feeling... I went on such a good run, but I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. So I've got that same feeling of what I did before when I descend into illness. So provided I'm in good health, I'll go to the game, which means I won't do an instant match reaction. It will be a bit later. We'll preview that game, speak about Aston Villa, who of course have been enjoying a win streak of double digits. 10 games in a row they've won, which is very impressive. They're even bantering the United Strand content creator guy, saying he could have had 2 haircuts by now. The guy won't cut his hair until United win 5 games in a row, which seems impossible. I genuinely don't think that kid's ever cutting his hair again. So yeah, we're getting into it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll build a lineup together and speak. This is a huge game, bro. I wish... you know, the first game I hadn't been to in ages was a bit more of a banker, rather than, you know, go playing against a team who are above us and have just won 10 games in a row. But who knows? Go there for fun, you know. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to support the content, please do consider doing so. Just like this video, subscribe if you're yet to do so. Many of you will be returning visitors, and yeah, great opportunity to be like, you know what, let's just sub. Let's just jump aboard the good ship Football Therapy and subscribe. So thank you for doing that, and of course, if you do want to put the extra hard miles in for your boy, that's so kind of you. Just go on Spotify, give me a 5-star rating. That's nice. Isn't that nice? And follow. Yeah, follow as well. Right. Let's get into it. Let's start off with this. Sky Sports, Antoine Semenyo transfer news. Man City emerging as front runners while Chelsea end pursuit. Now, the 25-year-old has a £65 million release clause that is active in 6 or 7 days' time, at the beginning of January. That is a snip, and loads of teams are going for him. I think Man United, he, to me, seems like such an obvious solution/successor to Mohamed Salah at Liverpool. I think he should be all over that. It's pretty funny how Man City have come in and become front runners. Who are they playing on the right? I mean, they don't really have... Is Savinho? Is he still playing on the right wing? Anyway, we're not talking about Liverpool and Man City here on this channel. I speak about those clubs on the sister channel, Football Yannick. So let's talk about Chelsea. It's been in the headlines everywhere where you search Chelsea news that we've withdrawn from the Chelsea pursuit. I think, excuse me, I've got the sniffles, mate. Maresca was asked about this, and he was like, I keep saying, I'm in love with the squad I've got. I'm in love with the squad I got. He didn't quite sing it like that. And of course, Chelsea have a lot of talented wingers. Pedro Neto, big tick, also 25 years old. Might be 26 now. Pretty much the same age as Antoine Semenyo, but he's been like loads of Premier League experience. You know, he's 25. He's exactly the same age as Semenyo. He's just been around in the Prem for much longer. He doesn't turn 26 till near the end of the season, March. And he's in the prime of it. He's in the form of his life and in the prime of his career, Pedro Neto. And of course, Estevao, who was also asked Maresca was asked about him, and he says, yeah, he can be one of the best. He just needs to continue to work. These kind of comments that you'd expect. Like I said, at Chelsea, people are... It's tough, isn't it? Because we've got players to join. We'll speak about Penders in a moment, but we've got players to join like your Kendry Paez's, Emmanuel Omegas, and Giovanni Kenders. So, yeah. If Kender, of course, just had that surgery on an injury, which was a shame because this was his last season at Sporting before he is a Chelsea player, and we were all sort of watching from afar, seeing how he's getting on, seeing how he's doing, getting all excited. The same way we did with, Stefan Willian. You get excited, you see what they're all about, and then you're like, right, see you in the summer, mate. Let you join up with Maresca's boys, and hopefully you can deliver a lot. It doesn't surprise me at all that we're not interested in Semenyo. Even if the £65 million does look appealing as a release clause, I'd be interested to learn the payment structure. If it's one lump sum, or if it could be paid over like 4 years or whatever. It'd be very interesting to learn. See what happens there. But yeah, with Kender coming, with a good amount of time for both Alejandro Garnacho, who's shown a bit, and Gittins, who's shown a bit less, but still a bit. Very different styles of players. The season, it's not just in games. Maresca will be able to analyse them in training, and come the end of the season and the 2-year review, Maresca can be like, right, this is how I play with Chelsea. Over the 2 years, this is how I've evolved. This is my vision. This is how I want to deploy the team. And one of these two, Garnacho or Gittins, can't do it. Bring me in a left winger, but the truth is, Giovanni Kender is coming in pretty much straight away, so he's got another player to analyse who's been playing at a high level, bro. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens there. But this Semenyo stuff, many of you would have seen also on social media. There's like a clip of him going around in a Chelsea kit talking about a Chelsea score, and he was doing like the Didier Drogba celebration, which obviously is lovely to see. But just because he likes Chelsea, maybe supports Chelsea, I'm not entirely sure, it doesn't mean he wants to join Chelsea. He'll have a team of advisors, and they might be telling him, go and succeed Mohamed Salah and get paid 300k a week, basic. Similar stuff for Man City. He's not an 18-year-old from South America. He's a 25-year-old in the form of his life that can sign a big deal with a huge base wage packet. Right, let me just prepare this story on Mike Penders. Here we go on GetFootballNewsFrance.com. Profile: Mike Penders is Chelsea's long-term solution. There he is. It's cheering. It's positive. Let's read it. It's in between the sticks that Strasbourg's partnership with Chelsea has been most acutely felt. Last season, of course, Georgi Petrovic arrived. It was a marriage. It felt more of convenience with the Serb's first team chances at Stamford Bridge limited. Not entirely true. He just didn't get the guaranteed assurances that he wanted. But he got his career back on track in Ligue 1, whilst ultimately he would not work his way into Maresca's plans. It did allow Chelsea to make a handsome profit on the goalkeeper, and he's, of course, asserted himself as a number one at Bournemouth. Pretty good. It was Kepa before, wasn't it? They love a Chelsea goalkeeper. The plan for Mike Penders is different. The Belgium is seen as a long-term option between the sticks for Chelsea. Highly rated coming through the ranks at Genk. He moved to the Premier League club for a not inconsiderable sum of 20 million euros. What's that? 17 million pounds? 1-7 for a young player from Genk. It's significant money, Robert Sanchez, however, remains the number one at Chelsea, and so Penders follows the same path of Petrovic. Like the man he's replaced, Penders has enhanced his reputation at Strasbourg. Penders, one of Ligue 1's most progressive passers, which is great, but you got to usurp Rob Sanchez, who's assisting Joao Pedro now, apparently. Unsurprisingly, he's the number one goalkeeper for Liam Rosenior's side. The Belgian is crucial in build-up. Essentially, he's being used as an outfield player, which, of course, Maresca loves at Chelsea. Excuse me, it is a tactic, so I've eaten a lot of food, I'm feeling poorly, so I'm malfunctioning gastrically, which is terribly unsexy, but there we have it. It's a tactic not without risk, as the game against Crystal Palace in the Europa League Conference showed. A lot of possession. Even if not by Penders directly, it means the goalkeeper is out of position. Adam Autumn's complacently presented with an open goal. Situation was saved, and Penders, he made a bit of a sort of howler against Crystal Palace. And he also did something similar at Monaco, where he lost possession under pressure from Florian Balogun. Basically, he takes risks as a goalkeeper, but he's asked to do so. We saw Rob Sanchez do that a lot, make loads of mistakes, leading to goal, which he hasn't done this season at all. He's only done that Man United sort of rush of blood, run out, red card. So again, touch wood, Rob Sanchez is doing very well. But in such situations are likely to appear when Penders is seeing so much of the ball. He's so key in build-up, and when Rosinia is asking him to take risks, quote, "I prefer to concede goals and try something than play in a low block and wait, hoping not to concede anything," said the Englishman, of course, the Strasbourg manager. Penders ranks 6th in Ligue 1 for progressive passes, a sign of how key he is in possession, bearing in mind how young he is, guys, as well. It is in that sector that Penders brings Strasbourg competitive advantage, although the towering Belgian has also proven to be a strong shot stopper. His PSXG to GA per save, expected goals and expected assists, I think, per 90? Oh my god, these numbers are melting my brain. Per 90 figures are 8th best in the league. Only PSG's Lucas Chevalier, of course, the guy they brought in to replace Gianluigi Donnarumma, has kept more clean sheets. 2nd for clean sheets. As it was for Petrovic, this loan should prove to be a springboard for greater things for Penders. What's going to happen here then with Chelsea's goalkeeper? I wonder if Rob finishes the season continuing his form. He will be undeniable. I mean, there's talk about the Mike Penders interest being reinvestigated, reevaluated, but you're bringing in a new guy to settle in and try and form a bond, understanding, and chemistry of a new team where Robert Sanchez looks like he's doing the business at the moment. And again, I keep saying to people on here, and indeed different channels that I guest on, or indeed just people I chat about football with, I've been so certain about Rob Sanchez not being the guy that even though he's having a great season, and he had a good Club World Cup, he has to get to the end of this season for me to... I'm doing my own end-of-season review on the goalkeeper, on Robert Sanchez. And if he's still good, then we just keep him. Yeah, even if there is a Maignan deal there, even if Penders finishes the Strasbourg campaign even better, you keep... This is my opinion, of course. You keep Rob Sanchez for another year. And yeah, I suppose you keep Penders in goal for Strasbourg for another year. You don't want to do too much what Chelsea did with Courtois. Let him set up a life in Atletico in Madrid when he was on loan for 2 years at Atletico. He had children there, and then when he was recalled to Chelsea, he never really settled in London. He just wanted to go back to Madrid, and that's why when Real Madrid came calling, and he could be close to his kids and play for a bigger club than Chelsea and Real Madrid. That's the one sort of club I'll be like, same as Eden Hazard. All right, off you go, sort of thing. Then yeah, but if you can settle him there with him knowing you are coming back to Chelsea, mate. Provided you become the player you're supposed to be, the goalkeeper you are supposed to be, you will come back. But right now, Rob Sanchez is going to be the bridge. By the time he turns 29, 30, you'll be ready, you'll be early 20s, you can come in and be Chelsea goalkeeper. So the succession plan is real, and it is evidently there. So do let me know your thoughts, and let's speak about the post-Christmas game, Chelsea versus Aston Villa at home. So, like I said previously at the top of the show, Aston Villa are coming off a 2-1 home win against Manchester United in what was kind of an exciting game. Matheus Cunha scored a good goal, but the story was, ex-Man City player and very close friend of Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, with, the cold celebration that was originally his, but he openly admitted Cole Palmer could have it. Doesn't mean he stopped doing it himself. Scoring a couple of worldies. He's in my Fantasy Premier League team, so I'm happy about that. But if we can keep him quiet on the Saturday afternoon, then that would be amazing. 4-2-3-1 for Unai Emery's side, who literally can't stop winning. Emi Martinez in goal, Matty Cash and Ian Maatsen, former Chelsea at fullback. He's come in and made the team a lot better. Maatsen as a first choice left back. Konza and Lindelof. That is weird. The Lindelof. He's one of those players that popped up and I was like, oh, what's he doing there? Kamara and Onana in midfield with Tielemans actually makes that very, very formidable. To be honest, man, that 5 behind Watkins. So Watkins, of course, is an out-and-out attacker. Rodgers is an attacker, but he could be like a number 10. So it's still like a midfielder-y. To have Yuri Tielemans, who's played in like double pivots, to be in that number 10, and McGinn, who's a midfielder playing on the right wing, that's essentially 5 midfielders. It's listed here as a 4-2-1, but it's kind of like a 4-5-1, but Rodgers playing in this new role as a sort of tucking in the left-hand side. This is why, if I knew he was going to play there like this, he had a very tough beginning to the season, Morgan Rodgers. Chelsea apparently massively identified him as a target in the summer. Imagine if we just... If he was happy to play on this left wing, I've just been speaking about Chelsea's options, how it's so obviously locked down on the right side. Stevao, Pedro Neto, even Palmer could play on the right. Do what Morgan Rodgers is doing on the left, Palmer could do on the other side. So many options on the right, and of course we're sort of hoping Garnacho or Gittins eventually catches fire. Imagine if we just threw the bag at Rodgers, double cold celebration, him and Cole Palmer. They are very close. They're like, I don't know if they're best mates. I think they might be best mates. And then you'd have a real superb quality option to play as a sort of left winger. He's not going to be a touchline winger, chalk on his boots, of course. He wants to come inside. And perhaps the likes of Jamie Gittins and Garnacho will hold width a lot more. That's a tactical decision. Maybe Maresca needs that, so it might not be possible. But he's been on absolute flames, mate. Like I said in recent content, earlier this season when Villa couldn't score a goal for 8, it's amazing the position they're in now. 10 wins in a row, and Morgan Rodgers just on flames. Tuchel, I think he's Tuchel's number 1 choice at number 10 for England, which says everything. Especially if you consider the options of like Eze, Foden, Bellingham, Palmer. He's going, give me Morgan Rodgers. Fair Fs, because he's playing very, very well. I'm not going to speak about missed opportunities, but wow, imagine if we got him and he was the auxiliary inside winger. But he plays very differently to Maresca's players at the moment. I think if anything, if there's going to be a pocket player, it's going to come from the right, like Stevao or Palmer stepping in and the left side holding width. We'll see what happens, but of course he scored both goals. Like I said, I can't really get over how how many functional players they're playing. John McGinn is a right winger. I mean, that's crazy. It's just sticking in tackles and being robust. Kamara, Onana, and Tielemans. They're all they could all be double pivot players, and they're 4 of a front 5, which is just crazy, really. So of course, they beat Man United. Cunha scored a good goal. Yeah, you'd expect them to beat Man United, but it's more than 10 wins in a row. That's just so impressive. So good, guys, in the words of Pep Guardiola. Right then, let's build a lineup together for this game. That will be fun, won't it? Now, let's go who we know is going to definitely play. Robert Sanchez. Cucurella has to play, obviously. If, Jarrell Hato comes out of nowhere, will be in trubs, you must say. Despite the wobbliness of elements last time, Chalobah will continue with Wesley Fofana in the centre-back partnership at the back for the Chelsea. Caicedo is definitely going to start, of course. Pedro Neto has to start, of course. And it's getting a little bit more tricky now because I can see Malo Gusto being rested. I can genuinely see Gusto being rested. He didn't play so great last time out. And Reece James did end. I'm going to play Reece James at right back. I know we love him in midfield. I'm going to play him at right back. Let's put Caicedo there in this 4-2-3-1 formation. So a back 5 of Sanchez, Cucurella, Chalobah, Fofana, and Reece James. Caicedo in the midfield. I don't know if I'd start Andre Santos, but I will start Enzo Fernandez. I think we did do a lot better when he came on against Newcastle. Not as a pocket player per se, but I suppose we could do something here that we haven't seen in a while. We could see Reece James inverting into the midfield from right back, but covering the right back position, so we can make a box midfield. Oh, that's fun. Let's do that. Let's make a box midfield. Wait, am I doing this right? No, hold on, I'm going crazy. So Fernandez left pocket. There we go. My brain isn't working. So Wesley Fofana wide right centre back. Chalobah in the middle. Cucurella tucking in to make a left centre-back. The box midfield base would be Caicedo on the left, Reece James on the right, inverting from right back. So this is vintage Maresca. Pedro Neto can comfortably hold the width on the right, which means we need a really good... Cole Palmer, of course, will be the right pocket player. He's been spoken about in the pre-match press conference. Needs to play 90 now. They need to get him to 90 minutes. So Fernandes will occupy the left pocket. Palmer will occupy the right pocket, starting ostensibly as a number 10. A striker is interesting because Liam Delap's good to go, but you can't drop Joao Pedro after that goal at St James's Park. So it just leaves the left winger option. Who are we going to play there, gang? I mean, I guess it's Garnacho. He missed loads of chances, but if you look at his heat maps when he plays for Chelsea, he's the best at just really hugging tight at the touchline, really just waiting for the ball to come in and running in behind. So that will be the free back three players, a box midfield, and then wingers Garnacho, Neto holding the width for Joao Pedro. So just once more, out of possession, a theoretical starting shape, it will be like this: 4-2-3-1 with the double pivot Fernandes, Caicedo, with Palmer in the number 10. Of course, the front three / forward / wingers will be the same. And then when Reece inverts, Palmer goes in the right pocket, Fernandes goes in the left pocket, Caicedo moves over slightly, Reece inverts, and then you've got a back three. And Chalobah can play the central role quite well of a back three. Now, we haven't actually seen the box midfield for a while. We've seen more conventional stuff like Reece James just starting in the midfield and not inverting. And, of course, accommodating Malo Gusto, who's a right back, and being asked to play as a right back. And, of course, when you go like that, Cucurella gets up and down like a winger. He'll be more reserved if we do the inverted fullback here, because he'll have to stay back and create a back three. I am not entirely sure we'll see this, but this is probably more what I would deploy against a really good Aston Villa team that have got incredible, a lot of robust players. Of course, if you really just want to go for it, if you think like they're playing a sort of 5 midfielders and they're really hard to break down, you could play a 4-2-3-1. I mean, you could drop Palmer, to be honest, and then play like Fernandes in the 10 and Santos next to Caicedo, but I'm not entirely sure I'd want to see that. Alternatively, you could do this. You could play Neto on the left because, of course, he's undeniable. He's irresistible. You play Fernandes in the 10, so Cole Palmer on the right. Like I said, essentially doing what Morgan Rogers is doing for Villa, being a sort of winger, but you are a number 10. We've of course seen Palmer play at wing before. Neto out of position on the left, but even out of position, you'd probably want him over Garnacho and Gittins at the moment. And of course, this means you swap Garnacho for, say, a Santos, who's available. So Santos and Caicedo double pivot behind the number 10 Fernandes. And then you get all the sort of like robustness of the midfield of Santos and Caicedo and Fernandes. And you're not dropping Palmer or Neto or indeed Joao Pedro, who's playing well. We could see a whole bunch of different versions of that, you'd say. I do think this is going to be a really tough game. We could easily lose this because they've won 10 in a row. It is at Stamford Bridge. The feeling could be good. The moods could be up. It's really going to be dependent on if the players turn up. Of course, Maresca has got a touchline ban, which I think generally hinders us massively because he does affect the game really positively. Unai Emery's such a big important figure on the touchline, so he will be affecting the game. Maresca will be absent. I'm going to predict a my heart says win as always, but my head says like a 2-2 draw, which would probably be a bit disappointing at home against Aston Villa, but that's sort of my feeling. But of course, I'd love for us to win. Like I said, I'm hoping to go to the game. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them. Thank you as always for liking and subscribing and following and 5-starring on your podcast apps. And keep it locked. Daily content, except for tomorrow, because it's Christmas. For those of you who celebrate, Merry Christmas. And for those of you who don't, I hope you have a lovely day anyway. And take care, friends. See you soon. Peace.